My brother's death was a shock. How could it be anything else? But looking back, how how Nell pulled it off was a sick sort of genius.
How do you mean?
In the beginning, she was so sweet. Unassuming and self-deprecating.
I can only imagine.
Then she did something so insidious, none of us even realized it was happening. Nell always had some reason why she and Zach couldn't make family events. It started with family dinners. They'd miss one here and there, and then the absences became more frequent. Of course, they were two young people in love.
So why wouldn't they want to spend time alone together?
Exactly. After a while, Zach started missing family functions, which was unusual. And then family trips, which was unheard of. Before we knew it, we weren't seeing him at all. And when they would call or stop by, Zach was cool, even defensive. We stopped hearing that great laugh of his.
Why?
Nell had begun to convince him that we thought she wasn't good enough for him. That we called her trash behind his back. Of course, none of it was true, but by then, what could we do? Zach announced that they were getting married, and we could either accept Nell, or he'd cut us out of his life. We didn't know it at the time, but Zach had already changed his will, left everything to her. And what do you know? No sooner was the will signed than she dragged him off to vacation in Maine, of all places.
Lots of people vacation in Maine.
No, not Zach. He was a Southern boy through and through. Hated cold. Wasn't all that fond of roughing it, either. His favorite part of any outdoor excursion was the wind down afterward, sitting around with his feet up. Nell had arranged it so that they would be all alone. And he went along because he trusted her. Got in that kayak, in that icy water.
Hey, Bear. We don't have to go through every detail right now. We don't, Maybe we can talk about this later. When are you leaving?
I hadn't planned on leaving until tomorrow at the earliest. But I would be happy isn't the right word. I would be willing to meet with you again, to tell you the rest and to answer any questions.
I appreciate that.
As painful as it is to stare all this in the face again, I'm very glad we met. You obviously think that Nell might be up to something. Whatever it is, don't let her get away with it.
You want some coffee?
Hey!
Hey.
How's it going?
It's good. Good. I just came to grab some coffee.
Oh, yeah.
You?
I was hanging out talking to your grandmother. She's super excited about getting that pen from the hospital. She said you're the only one who hasn't RSVP'd to the party.
Yeah, Nell and I discussed it. We're not going.